What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. I was doing a little bit of research recently about cancelled champions and some other unreleased stuff, and I was reminded of a really awesome unreleased champion that a year ago or so I really had a lot of hype for, which is of course Shin. He had a little bit of a teaser released for him around late 2013, but seems to have been lost in the development cycle since. And thinking back on him, it really brings quite a lot of insight into the way champions are developed, and more importantly makes you wonder, what happened to Shin? As well, here's some of my favorite comments from a previous video where I asked what champion I should make a history video for next. For a chance to be featured in a future video, leave a comment about what you think about Shin. Anyways, let's get started. Shin was previewed a little bit back in September 2013 after an appearance on the stream for the Chinese qualifiers for Worlds. His concept art was showcased off with a preview of his lore as well, showcasing the concept of what seemed to be some kind of storm dragon, who's a guardian of the natural world and would descend from the sky when Ionia faces its greatest crisis. Shin supposedly embodies the elemental duality of both a rising storm and prosperity, capable of raining good fortune on his allies and bringing stormy thunderous ruin to his foes. This alludes to some kind of storm magic in his kit as an offensive portion, but also some supportive nature as well. And to conclude the preview, Riot gave us some thoughts and said that they wanted to share the inspiration and give a look at the early thought process that goes into a champion's design. He was also hinted a little bit later on in the Spirit Guard Udyr comic as one of the characters in the story, and we've seen bits and pieces and minor references pop up here and there. Now, when Riot designs a champion, they almost always start with the concept for a character. Who they're going to be, what do they do, what do they want, what are they fighting for, and bringing that character to life through their own story, aesthetic, personality, and really the feel of the champion. This is what happens with most champions that are designed, especially the more modern ones, and it's what we see in the Shin preview. Anyways, the character is really important because those kinds of aspects develop a relationship between both the character in the game and the player playing them. It gets the player to connect with the champion, to like, dislike, or at least have some kind of connection with them, and after that you can develop a kit that you attach to the rest of the character. This is the most common way by far Riot develops their champions, especially a lot more recently, as we can see that the personalities of the more recent champions are so much more defined and intricate, and especially more complex. And with this form of design brings a lot of challenges in terms of developing the gameplay, or the kit of the champion. You really want the kit of a champion to feel good in the hands of a player, to feel like they're handling an epic dragon that comes down from the sky to save everyone, you know? The aesthetic, personality, and story of a champion needs to be brought to life through the gameplay elements of their kit. For example, someone like Shin, who's supposed to be this stage performer who artistically assassinates his targets with the perfect performance, has that sort of concept brought to life extremely well. Right off the bat, when you play Shin, he's got this swag walk, this element of arrogance that pretty much says, watch this, to all of his allies, and even his auto attack animation fits that feel as well. And with his kit, his abilities make it feel like you're playing this magnificent killer and putting on a performance, especially with his ultimate when it zooms out and really sets a stage, almost like some kind of theater performance for the player to look at and partake in by aiming his ultimate shots. The way Shin's character interacts with his actual gameplay is fantastic, and that's the general kind of concept Riot sets out for when it comes to making a character. It's all about telling a story and showcasing the personality through the gameplay of the champion, and getting the players to really feel something and connect in some way, either positive or negative, or maybe a little bit of both, about the character. And that's the general challenge that Shin has faced that has caused his development to hit a brick wall. Although Riot might have the idea for what they want his character to be, bringing that to life in his gameplay is a lot more difficult than you might think. He has to really feel like this crazy powerful dragon that rains down from the heavens, but also brings good fortune to all of his allies, all while fitting the Storm Mage theme and finding a way to be a completely unique and still fun and exciting experience for the player. After his preview, Riot Meddler is quoted for saying that although he's a concept that they're really excited about, since he's the kind of concept that hasn't really been explored that much yet, the preview that was released for Shin was very early and the champ wasn't anywhere near close to being finished. And honestly, it's hard not to be excited about him, considering he would be the only full dragon champion to exist in League of Legends, and no, Shyvana doesn't count. Meddler said that Shin still had some big outstanding questions for story and gameplay that were yet to be figured out, and that once those had been figured out, they would be able to talk about his details, and that was back in 2013. Daniel Klein, aka Riot Xenon, commented a little bit on Shin back in April 2014, stating that Shin currently didn't have a kit at all actually, and that they did try a lot of different kits, but none of them were able to work out. He also mentioned that this was completely normal for a champion, which of course is generally to be expected. I mean, designing a kit to fit the theme and personality of a character really just isn't easy at all, and that the only mistake they made with Shin was talking about him way too early in the development process, when they weren't too sure how close they were to finishing him. And it really goes to show, I mean, at any given time, Riot probably has dozens upon dozens of champions in development, and they just don't want to talk about them or anything and give hype to something that potentially might never happen. A good example of this was Magma Chamber. It was hyped up to be this cool and awesome thing, and then it just got cancelled, and for a lot of the players that's kind of a bummer. And as a company, Riot, you definitely want to avoid that from happening. However, one thing that I will say throughout all of this is that Riot has not once, not a single time, ever said that Shin was cancelled. Personally, I like the way that Riot creates champions, because it brings us a lot of really cool characters which have so much more to them than just their gameplay. But at the same time, this kind of design can also lead to some gameplay kits that are perhaps a little bit too shoehorned into some sort of theme. The alternative might be creating an incredible kit gameplay-wise first, and then building a character around that. But then you face the problem of somehow finding a way to come up with an interesting character to go with your gameplay. No matter what approach you take to designing a champion, there's going to be loads of problems that you face no matter what. Either way, I think Shin is going to be an awesome badass character that I am certainly looking forward to, and I'm really hoping he's not going to get cancelled. And who knows, maybe we'll see him later on in 2016 or 2017. Either way, that's just about it. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you didn't, hit the dislike, and if this video hits 10,000 ratings, I'm gonna buy myself a pizza. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.